My God.
It's another sad day in
America.
Painful to be introduced to George Floyd during his last breath.
With the cop's knee on his neck. He deserves so much more.
How many black lives have to be taken before something is done?
We are not a threat.
I am shaking as I type.
This has got to stop.
We are sick of it.
I just want us all to live.
Death will not stop until the powers that be are finally held accountable.
Don't look away from the truth until every one of us are free from white supremacy.
The world stands with you.
Criminalizing and killing of black and brown bodies is not new. It's as old as America. It's just getting filmed more.
Do you know what it feels like to be hunted? To have a new hashtag for a dead black person every single day? How does one plan a life if they aren't sure they will have a life to plan?
Darisha Armstrong, Deborah Dance,
Megan
Michelle Lee
George Floyd. His name was George Floyd. Say his name. Say his name.
George Floyd. Say his name.
Say their names. Once again, and always, we fight for justice. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Rest in power, beautiful. You didn't deserve this.
The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character. Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit HBCUPrideJoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports Network. For the first time since 1954, a true HBCU sports champion will be crowned on the field. The Black College World Series will feature 7 HBCUs battling for supremacy in baseball from April 28th to May 1 at Riverwalk Stadium in Montgomery, Alabama. Tickets are available at ticketrun.com and can be viewed online at mybcsn.net. This event brought to you by the City of Montgomery, the Montgomery Biscuits, BCSG 360, Black College Nines, Golden Coast Logistics, and the Black College Sports Network.
What a shot! That's how you get hot, young fella.
Welcome to Volume 1, Episode 3 of the Knights of the Round Table, the show where we take a look around HBCU sports in a rapid-fire manner. Joining me today from Black College Experience, got to start with my ladies, Jamie. I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait a second. Miss Keisha Kelley of Black College Experience. How you doing, Keisha?
I'm doing fine. I'm glad to see that we got twin backgrounds. Half of a twin background.
Look, I told you before we came on the show, you know, back in the day when somebody had the same outfit when you went to the club, you're gonna have to work the other half. I got this half the room. I'm gonna have to I'm
gonna work the football side thing. You take the schools, I'm gonna take the conference. Okay, I'll take the conferences.
All right. And also joining us from Coach Works Media is Jamie Walker. Jamie, what's going on, my brother?
Nothing much. How you doing? I'm happy you brought me on to this space to talk to the illustrious Keisha Kelley, because I'm trying to tell you, man, Keisha Kelley is putting in work. For those who don't understand, really, Keisha Kelley's putting in work.
Look, I'm gonna need to retire early, and I'm only 40.
Well, look, when you get up there where I am, when you push it 50, then you can start talking about that.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I got some time to go, huh?
Yeah, you got some time. You still got time to get that second million, because I already know you got that first million.
I don't know where. I don't know who told you that.
Hey, we want to thank each and every one of you all for joining us, be it on our Facebook platform, YouTube, Twitter, whichever platform it may be. Speaking of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all that good stuff, Keisha, quickly tell everybody where they can find you at.
So if you're looking for me on Twitter, it's Black College EXP. On Instagram, it's Black College Experience. And then on Facebook, it's The Black College Experience.
And Jamie?
The best place to get me is on Twitter, where everybody's opinion matters. It is at Coach Works Sports. At Coach Works Sports on Twitter.
All right. And of course, you can always follow us on the Black College Sports Network at by BCSN and the number 1 on Twitter. Same handle for Facebook. Look, y'all, before we even get into what I sent out to you guys for a show script, the biggest story of the week did not occur in HBCU sports. The biggest story of the week occurred in life. After we got off our show Monday, the next day, about 24 hours later, we've got the verdict for Derek Chauvin. So it's been a week, almost a week since that has happened, but this is the first time that I've had a chance to come on and say anything. But before I put my 2 cents in, I wanted to get you guys' opinion. Jamie, I'm gonna start off with you. Give me your first impressions, and then a week later, what do you say?
I'm kind of going with the whole thing of not really celebrating it, because I don't think you celebrate something that's supposed to be occurring. It was obvious to everyone. I'm relieved, but celebratory, no, you celebrate something that rarely happens. And this does rarely happen. But at the same token, everyone saw the video. Everyone, knows what should happen. So it was kind of more of a relief than it was a celebration.
Keisha.
I agree with him being a relief, but on the flip side, I see 2 Black men that I'm on a panel with. I have a nephew that's a Black man. So, even when you were playing the clips before, it's almost an emotional moment to even look at the clips and to see how many Black men, Black women have died, not because they've done anything wrong, but basically because of the color of their skin, because someone feared for their lives, or they had a split second to make a decision. And it's just like, I think the whole world was so shocked to even get that, to get the 3 guilties. We didn't know what to say. I had actually walked out the room, came back, and had to look again because I totally didn't believe it. And I think we were talking about it. I don't think people totally believed it because we're so used to, this is what it being justified. Everything is justified. And even after celebrating or talking about,
looks like we lost Keisha with a slight internet problem. You still there, Keisha?
And I can kind of pick up as well. I absolutely see her point. Just seeing everybody's reaction to it and everybody, going on, even though I expressed that point of not necessarily it being celebratory, that I understand people's exuberance with it. I really do.
Keisha, looks like you're back. Go ahead and finish your point, ma'am.
Oh no, I was just saying, the very next day when the young lady, Ma'Khia Bryan, got killed, we didn't even have time to process the whole Derek Chauvin issue, because then here comes this, and it's like, it's almost like you're just putting us in front of a gun, making us target practice. And it's so scary because we never know when we walk out. And I heard somebody say this probably last year or 2 years ago. Going out the house and coming back is the biggest blessing that we'll ever receive, because we never know if we're going to receive or we're going to return. We take that for granted. We never know if we're going to return home. People walk out the door every day. We can just be going to the mailbox and something can occur. And it just depends on who's behind the wheel at that point, what their day is like, and what the person that's what you look like. They're gonna accuse you or whatever they're gonna accuse you of, and it's very disheartening. And sometimes I just have to turn off the news because it hits me so differently. It's just like, at this point, I'm tired of saying how much is enough. Like, how many times? It's like, how many people are you going to kill before you say, okay, I'm done?
Well, I'm gonna give a different perspective on this. First of all, I remember 1990, I believe it was 1995, in the OJ trial.
Yep.
I remember where I was when it happened, and I was working in a restaurant. I had just finished school. I was a restaurant manager, and we pulled the old, probably about a 19-inch TV, one of the old box TVs. We set it out on the counter, got a couple forks and some tinfoil so we could have reception. And everybody was gathered around this little bitty TV when the verdict came down. And then I saw the reaction because, I work with blacks, whites. We had black customers, white customers at that point in time. And I saw the black people around me, celebrating. And I saw the white people pretty much pissed, for lack of a better word. And I'm sitting up here thinking to myself, and I told somebody, I was like, I think he's guilty as hell. But that's the first brother that I seen who had enough money and enough clout to actually beat the system. He's few far between. Then I go back to actually Tuesday night. I do a lot of work with kids, and I was actually umpiring a high school baseball game. I was on the field when the verdict came down. So, me and my partner, another black guy, we knew what the verdict was, but obviously we continued the game. Long story short, 7th inning of the game, coach does something which forces me to eject the coach. Coach refuses to leave the field, so we forfeit the ball game at this point. This is where it gets interesting. Mind you, this is 90 minutes after the verdict has come down. I'm walking off the field. I have to walk out through right field to get to my vehicle. And he said something to me in about 49 years I don't think I've ever heard anybody say to me. Something. All I heard was the word boy at the end of the sentence. What? I turned around. I said, excuse me, what did you say to me? And he repeated verbatim with the boy at the end. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I lost all my professionalism at that point. And I started going back that direction. Now, imagine he's on the third baseline. I'm in right field. We closed the gap, and he says, "What you gonna do about it, boy?" By that time, I'm 38 high.
Yeah.
So, and mind you, I got all these kids. Most of these kids don't look like me, but the coaches, and this is the visiting coach, the coaches of the home team knew me enough, knew that was not my character, came out, got between me and the other guy, but the other team had a deputy with them. And guess what? Guess who the deputy was threatening to take to jail?
You.
The 5'10", 175-pound black guy. So my point to that being, ain't nothing changed.
Nope.
We just got that one.
Yep.
But ain't nothing changed. Not yet. I hope it probably won't be in my lifetime. I hope so for my grandkids' sake. That is different. But most of these people that come here to listen to us talk about Eric Chauvin. They came here to us to talk about sports. And please, if you followed us on Facebook, please feel free to type into the comment section. We may get a couple of them in. Let's start off with topic one. SWAC championship. We're not gonna get into the game yet. We're gonna get into the logistics of the game first. Went from all right, we need to play this game to determine who's gonna get home field, who's not gonna get home field, to COVID with Texas Southern, COVID with Mississippi Valley. Who's gonna get who's gonna get the home team? Hey, let's put this game in Jackson, Mississippi. Everybody's got a few theories on this, but what's your reactions to the game being moved to Jackson, Mississippi? Go ahead, Keisha.
So personally, I'm from Huntsville, Alabama. So with me, I wanted it to be in Huntsville so I can go home, go see the game after I leave Nashville because my nephew graduates from Tennessee State on Saturday. So I was going to go to his graduation, come back home, go to the game that evening. Because
that's just a short hop from Huntsville to
I mean, it's like an hour and 45 minutes or something. So I was like, oh, I can go home. I can see my nephew graduate in Nashville. I can go see my mom. It's my twin sister's school. We can come back. When they said Jackson, I said, wait, that flipped me all the way over. And so before the commissioner came out and said why they moved it, and that both Maynard and Gamble had both decided, they both wanted neutral location, I was like, okay, it makes sense. So once I heard after, because me personally, I'm like, okay, if I'm A&M, I got questions. I got a lot of questions. If I'm Pine Bluff, I got a lot of questions. But being that he explained why, I get it, but
while we wait on Keisha's internet, it seems like it's buffering today. Go ahead, Jamie. Get your thoughts in.
Kind of what Keisha said in certain instances, but I will add in a little bit more of just my opinion on it. I think yes, both teams did agree based on them wanting to have a neutral site. But I think in hindsight, had they known the neutral site was going to be Jackson, Mississippi, they may have not called it that way. I'm totally in agreement. I think, however, looking at it from an athletic director, commissioner, publicity standpoint, it works out absolutely perfect for the SWAC. You got to think about where the press has been going to the entire season for the most part. It's been going through Jackson, Mississippi. And even though the team that occupies Veterans Memorial Stadium is not playing in the game, I think it's absolutely perfect from a publicity standpoint that is going to Jackson.
Yeah, obviously, Veterans Memorial Stadium is the largest stadium in the SWAC. So in theory, that should allow both fan bases, if they want to attend, to be able to attend the game and still be able to socially distance.
And they got some good food down there. They got some good fish, y'all. They got some good fish down there.
Hey, go. From what I've heard, you need to go to Stamp Burger. So
we didn't go to Stamps, but we did go to a place that had fish around the street from Jackson State, but whatever. Anyway.
but that's a good point. Jackson is a football city. Jackson is a SWAC football city. So if you're going to put it in any city and expect non-A&M or UAPB fans to attend and support a game, I think Jackson is the perfect place for the casual or the diehard SWAC fan to go. They're just going to go watch the game because it's a good football game featuring two SWAC teams that they are familiar with. So the perfect place to go. And it's probably a blessing for Mississippi Valley that they couldn't play, because Mississippi Valley, the game against Mississippi Valley was one of the tiebreakers. So you know A&M was gonna open up not one, but try to open up 2, 3 cans of whoop to try to beat A&M. And if whatever that margin of victory, if that was one of the determining factors,
yeah, things like 7 or 8
what they could to influence that one. And that was about tiebreaker number 5 or 6 right there. I was hoping they wouldn't go with number 3 with the ranking, considering that the last ranking was done prior to the selection of the FCS playoffs, which really it would have been unfair to both teams because you don't really know what they would have been after the game. So, you know, that thing actually may have come down to a coin flip. So I'm glad they was able to figure it out, because if it comes down to a coin flip, I mean, it's 50-50. You're going to have half of them happy, half of them pissed. So moving on. And before we get up to the southern side of this story, we're going to talk about Dawson Odom's leaving Southern for Norfolk State. I'm going to let you open up the Southern question, which is going to be the next question, Keisha. So I want to go to Jamie first on this one. Jamie, Dawson Odom leaves for Norfolk State. Got a decent raise by going to Norfolk State. Good, bad, indifferent? What's your opinion?
Oh, wow. Indifferent. Being from the area within MEAC country, I understand wanting to go home to some degree. We don't know necessarily the background stories about that as well. But what I will say is, and the reason I'm so indifferent is because the SWAC is hotter than fish grease. I've been saying it the whole year. And that conference has more stability than the MEAC does right now. The MEAC doesn't even know what they're going to do going forward. So I think in that regard, I consider it lateral and not a step up.
Keisha.
Let's see if my internet let me be great to answer the question, because it just don't want me to talk. But I do. I honestly, in this case, it's kind of the same. I think it's the same as Jamie said. It's like a lateral move. I think it's a different opportunity. And if you look at it, it's like what 10, 11, like you've been in that space, and it's just giving you an opportunity to move into something different. And I think that he's excited about the opportunity to actually go over there, and you start looking at, because people always said, oh, it's to be closer to home and looking at money, but you got a chance, like James said, to revive a conference. And so if you look at some of the other, teams that are in the conference, you look at Howard and what is Howard doing? You got Delaware State, North Carolina Central. I mean, FAMU, North Carolina A&T, and Bethune-Cookman, they're all gone. So there's, you really don't have to worry about those schools. So in my honest opinion, I said, listen, coach, you might go over there and win a championship in the first year. Now, if you happen to win a championship in the first year, you owe me a check. But you could actually go over there, win a championship, and then you think about it. They got Coach Jones over there for the basketball coach. So, I think it's a great thing going forward for him.
Yeah. Now, look at some of those bonuses that he got into this contract. Outside of South Carolina State, who's really going to be his competition in the MEAC? A much easier road to the Celebration Bowl in the MEAC than in that SWAC West, where you've got Grambling won't be down long.
No,
you've got Alcorn moving over. You've got a rising, the surprise of the year, UAPB.
Mm-hmm.
Prairie View's been tough. COVID caught them this year, but they were tough.
Right.
And Texas Southern? Is Texas Southern the new doormat of the SWAC West? Don't really know. And then you got those crossover games. I don't know who was on the schedule for the crossover this year, but there are no easy games on the east side.
Right.
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 Hope Valley is on your schedule. That might be your easiest game when you go across over to the east side. No offense, Valley, but let's be real. You don't want to face them other 5 teams on the east. So if I'm trying to build my stature, and if I'm trying to go beyond Norfolk, I'm going to be able to accumulate some W's at Norfolk and be able to get to another FCS or maybe a group of 5 FBS team.
And you're right about Norfolk State. They're not that far away. They played really, really competitive in the last year that there was a full season. and had some really, really good personnel. Quarterback was in place. Coach Scott was doing his thing. I'm not sure the move him making the ECU itself, but people do what they need to do for their families and their situation. So I understand it. But at the same time, that school, Norfolk State is not that far away. And you're right. Who is their competition? Because, I see Coach Milstead doing, Dell State's looking a lot better. Howard, we'll see where they are. And South Carolina State's not the old South Carolina State. So he has a chance to go and win immediately.
Definitely. Now, he left a team, that being Keisha's alma mater. I'm just gonna let you go at it first, Keisha. Give us your opinion. If you want to break any stories here, we'll give you the time to break stories. What do you have to say this as an alumnus?
Being that I work closely with the department, but I don't. If I had some stories, I promise you, you would know. Look, they would have been out by now, but I don't have any stories. And I'm like everybody else. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting like everybody else, because we know it's been so many stories and so many rumors and so many accusations. There's been so much stuff. So I'm just kind of like, I'm lost in it, and I'm really over it by now. I'm just like, all right. I kept saying, just let them do their job, and every day is something different, and it's a phone call, and it's a group chat, and it's a Zoom. It's been so much stuff, and it's just like, at this point, I just say promote from within. Just promote from within your staff, and then you wait and hire a coach or go on that coaching search later.
Good call.
Jamie, go ahead.
Yeah, same thing. That's a good call. Because as we kind of, discussed in show prep, this is a really, really quick turnaround when it comes to them having to hire a coach and what that coach will implement. And so even with all the rumors and things going around, you're looking at a team that's still looking to win. I mean, quite honestly, they played the best at the end of the year, period. When you're talking about just what they were doing, they lost that earlier game, but came back and righted the ship. Ladarius Skelton played absolutely phenomenal ball. And even with their 3-quarterback system, they were able to make it work. It used to be, the term where they would say, if you got 3 quarterbacks, or even if you had 2 quarterbacks, you didn't have any. Well, they made it work. They made it work to perfection. So, they're on the uptick. And so right now, if I'm hiring, I don't want anybody to come in and mess that up.
Definitely. You don't want that to happen. Now, here's the thing about bringing in a new coach right now. Who they gonna recruit? Everybody who's worth something has signed.
True.
So you're getting leftovers. Yeah, you may pick up 1 or 2 out of the portal, but you won't pick up enough to field a competitive team. And if you bring in the wrong coach, you're gonna lose the good players that you have now. So it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. The logical thing to do would be to go what's his name, Washington, the DC, to let him be the interim for a year, and then take it from there. That would be the logical thing to do. Not quite sure how they do it. Hope they're not going for the big splash and trying to be like the Joneses, or should I say the JSUs and the TSUs. So Southern, be Southern, do the Southern thing. Don't be like everybody else.
They've been talking about bringing me in for a little bit. They've been talking about me coaching a little bit.
You can do this, Keisha. You always talk about, I saw, a picture with a ball in your hand. You can do this.
They'll be calling for my head that first week. That first week.
First week, probably the first day.
Hey,
I tell you what, we get ready to take a break, y'all. When we come back from this break, we're actually going to preview the championship game, the SWAC championship game. We're going to look at A&M. We're going to look at Pine Bluff. And then we're going to ask the question, what's going on at Grambling? We'll be back right here on Nights of the Round Table, Pro Sports Media Production.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover. And even with my face covered,
you will see me. As a son, as a man with a never quit attitude,
as a fighter for change.
Join me in wearing a face cover
to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
For the first time since 1954, a true HBCU sports champion will be crowned on the field. The Black College World Series will feature 7 HBCUs battling for supremacy in baseball from April 28th to May 1 at Riverwalk Stadium in Montgomery, Alabama. Tickets are available at ticketrun.com. It can be viewed online at mybcsn.net. This event brought to you by the City of Montgomery, the Montgomery Biscuits, BCSG 360, Black College Nines, Golden Coast Logistics, and the Black College Sports Network.
What a shot! That's how you get hot, young fella.
We're back here on Nights of the Round Table. Joining me this week are Keisha Kelley of the Black College Experience and JB Walker of Coach Works Media. Keisha, says
Yes.
Your hometown A&M is in the championship game. I'm going to let you go first. Break down what you see A&M, what it's going to take for them to win, and then Jamie and I will come in with our points.
Okay.
Right?
All right, I can set it off.
Go ahead.
All right, I'll address Alabama then first.
2006.
Wait, here we go. Start over, Keisha. You froze up again.
Y'all see how my internet do? So it's ironic that in 2006, Pine Bluff and A&M played each other in the SWAC championship. So here we are again at this same place. It's been 10 years since A&M was the
SWAC champion.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it up, Jamie.
Okay. Just the fact that they are so familiar with each other. And so when you're looking at two teams coming together, A&M is equipped really to kind of do it all.
Jackson State and the same game he had against Alabama State, they're going to be fine. But I think Aquil is going to be the key to them winning SWAC championship.
Go ahead, Jamie.
All right. What, just on the rebuttal or just continue to talk Alabama A&M?
Continue talking Alabama A&M. We'll come back with UAPB.
Okay. When you're talking A&M, Akil Glass has been definitely the focal point of this entire campaign. But what I'm looking most forward to is seeing Garrett Quarles. And the reason being is because when someone's the primary focus of any team, they're going to game plan for him. Although no team has really been able to contain Akil Glass or that receiving core at all. They've been able to run Coach Manner's offense to perfection, especially in relation to getting the ball downfield, being able to really take their coverage and switch what they need to do. I was looking at the game last week. I was actually there, and it was masterful how Alabama State kept changing coverages and the adjustments on the fly by both Glass and the receivers just worked to perfection. And mix that in with a little bit of Garrett Quarles. I'm curious to see how UAPB actually defends both sides, both areas.
For me, the one thing I will say is if Aquil Glass leads A&M in rushing like he did against ASU, A&M's going to be in trouble. They have got to establish their run game. The reason why they have got to establish their run game, because you're probably looking at a game where both teams are going to have 6, maybe even 7 D-backs on the field because of the aerial assault that both these offenses can put up. So Glass is going to need that play action, which means you have to establish the run game in order to use the play action, correct?
And if you think about it, when they played Alabama State, he started off slow. The
first quarter and a half.
He started off slow. And remember when Pine Bluff played Southern, they started off fast. And that's how they won the game. If they start off like that and they continue on, it's going to be an interesting game Saturday.
Yeah. Let's flip it over to Pine Bluff, Jamie. Go ahead. Break down Pine Bluff.
Wow. Pine Bluff. Skylar Perry. Wow. They've been dynamic from the quarterback position. And the reason they're a little bit different, even though both quarterbacks, Glass and Perry, have been dynamic, Perry does it a little bit different. They go vertical on you in a heartbeat. And along with Perry, he's able to get outside the pocket a little more. He's more of the scrambler than Akil Glass. Akil Glass is your classic, he has some
almost
mobility.
a Tom Brady.
Exactly. He's 6'5", 212. You know what I'm saying? So he's your classic drop back passer. And so when you take Skylar Perry that's able to get on the edge, run the ball a little bit, similar to Nettles down in Alabama State, except Perry has a better arm, in my opinion. And so when you have those dynamic core receivers being able to get vertical, but also adjust their routes to really, adjust the Perry's throwing style, being able to throw on the run, make the comeback, get on the outs, they're able to methodically move up the field. So I think when you're looking at their offense, specifically the receiving core, and them kind of mixing up the run too, both of these teams really have similar game plans. I think Skylar Perry is a little more of the runner, and that I think Alabama A&M's defense is going to have to prepare for, really, with their pass rush. They showed a really good ability to rush the passer in that Magic City Classic. So I'm curious to see what will happen there.
Keisha.
I mean, I told Jamie everything that he know because I was going to say half of that, not the back half, just the front part of what he was saying with the whole getting out of the pocket. And I totally agree. And so with him being able to get out of the pocket, he does a lot more. And like you said, makes the quick runs. And so I think the matchup between the two of them. So if you think about it, in 2019, Pine Bluff was number 2. They're ranked number 2 in passing offense in the conference. So now you come to 2021 and you got this quarterback, and we see what we're going to have on Saturday. We can see what that matchup is going to look like.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you the one advantage Pine Bluff has over Alabama State. They have a distinct advantage in special teams. We all know they get after the punt. They've got an excellent return game in both the punt return and kickoff turn.
Correct.
One thing that I noticed when I looked at the stats is their punter has punted the ball, I believe, 24 times. He's got 8 punts inside the 20, only 1 touchback. In a game that could come down to field position, that could be crucial because anybody could put their foot into it if you're a decent punter.
Correct.
Can you punt for field position? Are you willing to punt the ball 30 yards and pin them at the 10 versus putting your foot into it? It goes out the back of the end zone. They come out to the 25.
Correct.
That one first down is the difference between Alabama A&M scoring a touchdown or kicking a field goal, or kicking a field goal and punting or going for it on fourth down and you get the ball back on downs. It's going to take that one possession, those 1 or 2 possessions with field position may be the difference if UAPB is going to pull, as everybody's considering, the upset. And I'm going to say this, wouldn't it be ironic if we wind up with a 14-10 game after we sat here and talked about all these offenses today?
It wouldn't. I mean, I can see the irony in it. And we are talking about how this game is going to be lightning all the time. But what I will say about this is I saw Alabama A&M have a 90-yard drive in the Alabama State game. And so they're totally unafraid to run their offense regardless of field position. So I think you're right. It could come down to whether your field goal kicker is able to make a kick or, what goes on. Because what I will say about this as well, a Maynard offense is willing to put the ball up at any point and willing to throw the ball regardless. He wants that gunslinger mentality. He was that at A&T. He encourages quarterbacks to be. So, I mean, whoever can actually get that timely interception may have something to say about who wins as well.
All right. Now it's prediction time. Right now, Alabama A&M is -3, and the over-under is 65 right now. That's the early line on the game. Jamie, who you got?
You would call me first. Wow. This is what's crazy about this. I'm gonna try to make it quicker. I think Alabama A&M will win. Them 3 points is mighty close, and Vegas always knows something we don't. I'm kind of torn though, man. I got a player that used to play for me that plays at UAPB. And
hey, bet with your head, not your heart.
And so, wow, it's hard to say. And the reason I say that as well is because UAPB has been trending down. Their last couple of games have been close, and it may be because they have the target on their back. But at the same time, I love seeing trends when it comes to football in general. So I'm going to go with A&M.
Keisha, Alabama A&M is -3, over under 65. What you got?
Oh.
And it froze up right when I answered the question.
See, let her go first.
Well, I'm gonna give mine, and maybe she'll come back by the time get mine. I'm actually gonna take UAPB plus the 3.
Okay, now
Alabama A&M on the win. I think it's going to come down. I think it's going to be closer than that. I think it's actually going to come down to special teams and a made or miss field goal, PAT, or something along those lines.
I'm going to say it's that FAMU internet connection, because now I got a strong connection. Now it's just like, but no, I do. I'm going with Jamie. I'm actually the same way. I'm thinking it's going to be Alabama A&M, but I will say this. It's not going to be a really high-scoring game, I don't think. I don't think it's going to be a really high-scoring
under.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a really high-scoring game, but I definitely, even if it's by 3 points, because I always think a team going to win by 3 points, it's going to either be by 7 points or 3 points, but it's going to definitely be Alabama A&M in my opinion.
Like I was saying, I'm taking Alabama A&M for the outright win, but I'm taking UAPB in the points. I think it's going to come down. It's going to be close, and I'm leaning towards the over right now. Unlike Keisha, I'm really leaning towards the over. Now, Keisha, while we got good internet connection, I got to get you on this one. What's going on at your cross-state ride?
So,
what the heck is going on up there?
And I've never seen Grambling in this place. Losing Bayou Classic, this was the first time in 92 years that they have actually had a winless season. And I've never heard that in all of my time. That's 92 years that they have not won a game, even though it's spring season. It's still football season. And so, it's like you said earlier, Grambling won't be down for long. They'll be back up. But it was, aside from COVID and other things that was going on, it was just a season that they probably could have opted out of and been okay, because it was just not a good thing for them. And I've never seen Grambling in that situation. And, of course, we have our rivalry back and forth doing Bayou Classic, but when it comes to Black college sports, I want everybody in the conference to be competitive. Every single person in our conference, I want to be able to play, and I want everybody to be competitive. Now, I mean, I understand I want you to perform doing Bayou Classic. I want you to lose then, but at least be able to play and perform.
Jamie, what's going on? We've had We had two, three assistant coaches gone. I believe we got athletic director on the move. Quarterback is gone. We don't know who else has hit the portal. What's going on with Graham over there? Talk to the Graham fam.
I think Graham fam has to be patient because if you're rushing to be great in the spring, it's not going to happen. You lost your quarterback. You lost your offensive coordinator. You got to think about the types of losses that you had within that team. They're not too far removed from being in the Celebration Bowl themselves. And so when you're looking at what Coach Bob's was able to do coming off the previous regime with him and coming into what they were able to do, they weren't that far away last year in the last full season. I'll also talk the football talk as well, and that is continuity amongst your practicing, your personnel, and just habits that you want when you're talking about fulfilling an entire squad. Some people were able to come out of COVID and do really, really well. Some people, based on how they practice and how they want to lay out their program, didn't do so well. And so I think when you're judging an entire program based on what you see coming out of a pandemic and saying we're going to play here and we're going to put this season within this, I think that some teams were able to handle it better than others. And then you lose your quarterback. You know, you lose your primary signal caller. You lose your offensive coordinator and having to scramble. In that Bayou Classic, and I was listening to it, I was on the way to the Magic City Classic and listening to that game. There were simple football things that they weren't able to do. And that just comes down to personnel and coaching. And so, and time. They haven't had enough time. So I think if you don't look good in December, then it's time to panic. Then it's time to push the panic button. But until then, I think you just have to relax and let the process work itself out.
You talk about personnel. They've never been 100% this entire season for one reason or another, be it COVID, be it injuries, be it whatever. They still had probably double-digit players out going into the Bayou Classic. As of Friday night, where as of about Friday noon, there was no 100% guarantee they were even going to have enough players to dress to play the Bayou Classic. What did you expect? What did you expect? They were probably going around school for the students who were in school. Hey, you got the eligibility? Can you pass the COVID test? Have you taken a physical? Come on out here. We need some people for practice. That's probably what it was like. Also, let's go back. Preseason. How many players did you see on how many Grambling players on SWAC first team? I'm waiting. Second team. I'm still waiting. Maybe everybody saw something that the Graham fam and the other fans didn't see. This team was not supposed to be good. When have you ever seen Grambling with no one on the first or the second team? I can't recall it. So,
and not only not in that case, if it's no one, it's always multiple people on the first and second team, and heavy on the first team when they have people heavy on the first team.
So this team wasn't supposed to be good, or at least on paper. And this time the paper was right. So Grambling, I said it last week. I'll say it again. Relax. Let's go through the full off season. Let's come back in the fall. Let's see what happens. Then, if like you said, Jamie, if you get through the season, we all know. Look, you got to win. You got to win 3 games. Grambling, obviously you got to win the Bayou. You got to win homecoming, and you just got to win a combination of one of those other 3 games. Alcorn, Jackson State. You just got to beat somebody else with a name in the conference, and then everybody be happy. So pick out that 3rd game. We all know the other 2 you got to do. You at least got to go 2-1 in those games to make your fans happy. Hey, let's go ahead. Let's take another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the story that for some reason HBCU media is not picking up, but they should be. The Black College World Series and the upcoming NFL draft. You're watching Knights of the Round Table right here, a Pro Sports Media production.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
Follow the Black College Sports Network on social media at MyBCSN1, the number 1, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1.
Winging along with.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the Black College Sports Network. Knights of the Round Table, Keisha Kelley, Jamie Walker, AD Drew here. All right, y'all. We talked about this story last week. I thought it was going to get some pub among our HBCU media brethren and sisters. Now, what about talking about Ashika Alexander? She went pro from an NAIA school, signed a pro contract with the Minnesota Lynx. She came out of Langston. Actually has another year eligibility at Langston if she chooses to go back. But we're not looking for that option. We're looking for her to go ahead and get paid. Get paid while your body lets you. You can finish school during the summertime, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
That's just me. Because you know, as an athlete, you have a finite clock in which to make money using your body, male, female, whatever it is. So why are our HBCU brother and sisters not picking up on this story and talk about it more? Because you know, come Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, when somebody from one of our HBCUs get drafted or signs a UFDA, it's going to be all over our platforms. Keisha.
So I'll go first. And I did, like I said, it was interesting when you shared it. Somebody actually sent it to me that Friday when I was flying out to Shreveport. And I was actually sitting in the airport reading it, and I actually shared it that day. And I kind of said the same thing. And then maybe a couple of days later, I noticed somebody else shared it, and I said the same thing. Well, it's not getting as much static as if it was a guy that had been drafted in the NBA, the NFL, the MLB. I was like, nobody's really talking about it. And I was like, just because it's WNBA does not mean that it does not deserve notoriety. And in my opinion, anytime it's a student from HBCU, I don't care what it is, we want to shine light on them, because that's the whole purpose, and showing love to those athletes, because our counterparts get that light shined on them. So we want to make sure we give them the same respect. And I've always lived by the same thing. That, and Jamie, you might know Nia. I think Nia, and I said we had the same conversation. I said a lot of times people think, oh, because it's a woman and no one's paying attention. Listen, if a student was ever in school on scholarship, that means that you need to respect that student that was on a scholarship. No matter what, that means somebody paid attention to them enough because they gave them a scholarship. So I think that we don't respect every athlete on the same level. It's like you said, come Thursday, we see anybody come out of there. I don't care if they, like you said, undrafted free agent. we gonna respect them, we gonna post them, we gonna tweet them, we gonna talk about them, we gonna pull up interviews from 30 years ago to highlight them. But when it comes to her, it just kind of okay.
Jay,
it is unfortunate because Keisha's exactly right. I think that news should be celebrated a lot more than what it is. And the reason being is because we celebrate our football players whenever they make it to any professional football league. And so you're talking about, and even with the fact that she went to Langston, you got to kind of analyze this for a second. Like, how many pro players have gone from Langston
exactly
into the pros? Like, we have to analyze
football
that.
players back in the 70s. That's about all I can think about.
So
exactly.
So just the fact that has occurred, and it's not getting the pub that it deserves, really goes back to our respect for women's sports, our disrespecting of women's sports in particular, really on every scale. It's shameful. And even within our HBCU media, that is not getting the pub it should. Is even worse. It's even worse. I think that, and being here in the metro area, she's a South Gwinnett grad. So being here in the Atlanta area, that's huge as well. And so it not getting, because I quite honestly, even from bigger media, locations and bigger media outlets haven't really covered it like you would think it should. But HBCU media should be all over this. This should be one of the top stories. But the fact that it's not just goes to show you that we are far from being complete in our coverage.
Since both of you guys are in the Atlanta area, did it get any coverage from the local media in Atlanta?
I didn't see much of it.
No.
I did not see much of it. I think the Atlanta Voice covered it. I think, and I think there were a couple more, smaller papers that did, but it wasn't not like it should have been, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know when I found out, and actually, Coach Palmer, her assistant coach, who he and I have known each other for about 15 years, he sent me a text and said, hey, she could just sign. And from that moment on, I was trying to, Sheik and I would text it back and forth, trying to set up a time so that I could do an interview with her.
Absolutely.
And because of the schedule, and as soon as she signed that contract, I mean, Minnesota Lynx had her all over the place. Anyway, and then I was up in Nashville covering that baseball classic at the same time. So, we were back and forth. I'm on the plane. I'm texting her, hey, I'll text you when I get off the plane. She's on the plane by the time I get off the plane. And we're going back and forth. We finally got together Sunday morning, 8 a.m. local time, Sunday morning. And we finally had the opportunity to sit down. And if I didn't do it then, I wouldn't go get it, because at 10 o'clock that morning, she had to be in this and she had to be in that. She kind of went off the record, she kind of went through some of the stuff that was going on. But we went into this business to tell our story. Yes. When I mean our story, Black sports, be it on the amateur level, collegiate level, or the professionals that have already made it. Now, we have one that transitioned from collegiate to professional, and it's not like she was hard for me to find. Yeah, I had a little bit of an end, but I very easily could have called the SID or did what I needed to do with the university to get that done, because they want the publicity. The fact that they had that athlete come out of their university. So I'm gonna say this. Don't take this the wrong way, my brothers, but shame on y'all for not covering and making this story as big as it is. I should not be the only one with the in-depth interview on YouTube and Facebook with her. And we all should have that. If it's not, if you don't do video interviews, there should be an article. Everybody has a blog. Everybody has a tweet. Some of them haven't even retweeted it. Even if you don't do that, but retweet what Keisha's tweeted out, Jamie's tweeted out, I've tweeted out, because all three of us have tweeted it amongst a few other people. Yeah. At least retweet it. That's the minimum that I'm asking, and y'all not doing it. Evaluate why you went into this profession, people. If you're gonna cover HBCU sports, cover all the HBCU sports, good and bad, and go watch the interview. She has a true story to tell. You have to go watch it.
I completely agree. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. We do. It's our job to cover every sport. It's not just the ones that we're comfortable with, football and basketball and baseball, because those are the most popular things. You got to cover them even if they don't have a top big name coach, but you got to cover them even when they're not winning. And it's like, I got a kid from Susla, from Southern University, Shreveport. It was like, hey, can we go live? I'm like, yeah, because to me, it's always those diamonds in the rough that people miss. Those are the people that we miss, and those are the people that get drafted. And then you're going to want to interview them after they got drafted. What happened to them while they were going through the ranks playing? Don't try to get them later. Get them while you can get them. Because just like you said, when she was trying to get her, she all busy now because she's trying to get to the next thing. And it's like we could have caught her before, but we didn't.
And just on that same point, we had talked back and forth during the season. We had made contact, and we were going to do an interview after the season, just tell her story. But when she got signed this contract, that pushed up their timeline. So no, I need to get this down while it's hot. That pushed up
wherever I can get it at.
And I gotta say this: kudos to both of you all, because Keisha's done that, and sitting back as an admirer, Keisha is the true definition of HBCU supporter. Like, she literally has covered every sport, and then Black College Sports Network has small school HBCU ball on as a telecast. Like you don't see that.
Y'all make me appreciate baseball. I'm gonna tell you, y'all make me appreciate baseball. I'll be like, wait, let me go there, because I know I can find baseball in a second on y'all page. Y'all make me appreciate baseball more than I have ever appreciated baseball before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got to give props to BCSN, definitely, because you are educating people about us playing everything and it being a place where people can see that product as well.
Absolutely.
It gives, as much as I work with high school kids, and some of them feel like they don't have a place somewhere. I think that exposure is big. And so it kind of ties into everything we're talking about here. If we don't tell our story, then there will be somebody that misses it.
Yes, true. Like I say, the minimum thing that we could have done, not only with that story, but any story, is a retweet.
Yep. That's true.
That's the least that you could do, or like and share, or like and subscribe, something. I don't have to watch it live, but go back and watch it at some point in time on YouTube. Listen to your podcast on Spotify or whatever while you're in your car. I don't even listen to the radio anymore. Half the time when I'm in my car, I'm listening to somebody's podcast instead of listening to music. So anyway, let's move on. Congratulations, Sheikah. I will have a follow-up with you at some point in time when you, hopefully, no, I'm not going to say hopefully. I'm going to speak it into existence.
That's right.
After you make the team, but before the season begins, Sheikah, I will be in touch. Speaking of baseball, Jamie, Black College World Series this weekend. For the first time since 1954, we will have a Black college champion in a sport crowned through a competition, a competitive tournament, not the mythical kind that we've had in football and basketball and every other sport throughout the years. But for the first time since 1954, you're going to put the teams out there, may the best man win. Your comments on that?
I'm loving the fact that this is happening because you're looking at we played baseball forever. We played baseball forever. And in some people's eyes, we haven't. And so when you see the fact that you're able to settle who's the best on the field, actually on the diamond, it's phenomenal. I think it's sponsored still by BCSG 360.
And kudos to Michael Coker, Jay Sokol over at Black College Nines because this was their baby, and then they started bringing other people in to help see that vision through. I think I've been on the phone with Michael Moore over the past week and a half that I have with anybody. You can add up all the minutes together. Just don't equal up to the time that I've talked to Michael over the last week and a half.
Yes, the Black College Nine does a phenomenal job in covering the sport, ranking it as well. They give details that you would never understand unless you go on the site and just break down everything, the coaches. You know, even the publicity at the beginning of the season when they interviewed all the coaches and, you know, wanted to see what its technique was. It wasn't just a matter of talking, because I think oftentimes we get lost in the sauce when it comes to talking the fact that you just have a team. No, they started talking ball. You know, these coaches have something to say and know their personnel. So it's not a matter of just having a program, but really breaking it down to see how good of baseball they're playing, and hopes that these kids make it to the next level as well. You know, so kudos to the Black College Nines, kudos to the city of Montgomery. Like, I mean, even the mayor's all in, and you know, I'm loving what I'm seeing. Now, hopefully we can get this thing to the competition on the field, because of course we got COVID. We got COVID. Hopefully we can get on there. And
don't forget, we're doing the outdoor sports, so
yes,
let's pray for no rain.
Yes,
also, because that as much as COVID can kill the tournament. Keisha, your turn.
I do, like I said, I really do appreciate this type of thing, and it's baseball. Like, it's not football and it's not basketball. That's the things you would always expect, but to see this type of thing. And I'm gonna give y'all props for keeping it generated, for keeping it going. Because, you know, sometimes people post up one time and they just drop off. I keep seeing it. And I was like, oh, this is dope. And it's like everything comes at the same time. But props to y'all for it's a great thing. And of course, I can't see none of this stuff because I won't be en route. But I think it's a great thing, and I think it's a great opportunity, especially with our Black schools. I think it's a really great opportunity.
Yeah, and like I say, shout out to the city of Montgomery. They've been looking to host something like this since you got to realize, city of Montgomery, which I used to live in that area, within a 3-year time span, they lost the Blue-Gray All-Star game and the Division II playoffs that they had hosted for umpteen years, probably over 20 years, within a 3-year time span. So they've been looking for events like this to come back and fill up these hotels, and kind of get a mulligan because of COVID. But when you open up those doors Wednesday, the people don't care about COVID. All they gonna care about is balls, strikes, outs, safes, hospitality. You know, we better have a strong.
So, are you out there all week? Are you gonna be out there all week?
I will leave. I will be there tomorrow night. I will be on the broadcast. Schedule has changed because 2 teams dropped because of COVID. Kentucky State and Lane dropped because of COVID. So we don't begin until 3:30 Central Time on Wednesday.
Okay.
And you can go to blackcollegenines.com. Look at their page. They have an updated tournament schedule on their page. And of course, you can catch the coverage on my BCSN.net/Diamond. We will be broadcasting all, I believe, out to 11 or 12 games now. I done lost count with so many schedule changes. But we've got 2 games Wednesday, 3 games in a home run derby Thursday, 4 games Friday, championship game, and the IF game on Saturday. So That's what you got going on. If you decide to come through Montgomery, going up to Huntsville, Keisha, instead of going up 59, holler at your boy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let me ask y'all this while we're on this.
Yeah.
Have y'all heard about the MLB introducing diversity initiatives for HBCU students? Have y'all heard about that?
I've heard something about it. I don't ask me any details. I've heard some stuff, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been so enamored in doing network stuff and doing what I have to do on my personal side to make sure those bills get paid too. I haven't had too much time for anything extra right now. So if there's something that you want to share, please share
it is. So I did. So yeah, I don't know if y'all know Mark Gray or not, but he sent that over to me earlier. And what it is basically trying to get our HBCU students in the front office of the major league for the MLB. So I'll send y'all the link. But it was pretty interesting. So it's trying to get them opportunities like internships, co-ops, or whatever, and jobs like in the front office, which once again, that's a different thing because we don't hear that as many times, like opportunities for them in that particular sport.
Yeah, well, and I'm gonna say this, and we done went totally off on a tangent, but what we have to realize, especially when your athletic career is over, some of us our athletic careers in high school, some of them being over 40 years old. But whatever it is, you still got over half your life left, in theory. And you can do more besides play ball and coach ball. Right. There are so many more opportunities around athletics, from trainers to officials, to general managers, to statisticians, to operations people, equipment people. There's so much more that you can do around athletics and make a good, not a decent living, a good living doing that. Hey, hell, you can even get on one of these podcasts and get picked up on somebody and start getting some real checks. I'm still waiting on my real check, but you can do something like that. So there's so many more opportunities. So the fact that you shared that information, Keisha, that's great. Pass it on, and hopefully that'll be something that can be shared at the Black College World Series this week.
I did send it to both of y'all. I mean, I sent it to y'all since y'all baseball people. So hey,
I got you. All right, last thing, we're gonna make this one probably the shortest one. NFL draft. We all know it's upcoming this week. Do we see anybody potentially getting drafted? Jamie, you think?
Oh yeah.
You think it's gonna be? You think? What's the over/under of players get drafted? Not free agent contracts. Actually, get their names called. What's the over/under?
5.
Wow, yeah. That's a big number.
You say 5. I'll say 3, maybe 3.
I'm closer to Keisha. I would say 3. You know, I would split the difference. I would split the difference and go 4. But I think it's definitely gonna be less than 5, Jamie. Okay. Any players in particular that we need to watch out for? Any names in particular?
I'm definitely looking for Ryan Mills from.
We
lost you again.
Yeah, sound.
Go ahead and hit your names, Jamie. Then we'll come back to Keisha.
She's talking about North Carolina Central.
Okay.
Mac McCain from North Carolina A&T.
Yeah.
Here's one that snuck in there from Keisha's alma mater because I was able to go to the HBCU Combine. Hunter Register.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He should. I think he should be drafted. I don't think it should be, free agent. I think he has the tools to be a sleeper for some team. Yes. And I think there's a couple more that could get, that'll definitely be on some rosters, but definitely those that stand out.
Any other names you want to throw out, Keisha?
I'm also looking at, let's see. It's escaping me, the people that I'm trying to think of. David Moore from Grambling. I'm thinking David Moore. Because they both were at Senior Bowl and they both were, I think, like the invitation to the Combine. So those two definitely, I'm definitely looking for. But yeah, Hunter Register, I definitely, because even with his, with his numbers and being out for a year, it was just like, hey, y'all will get a steal. Whoever take him would be a steal. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he jumped out. He did. He stood out. He really did.
Last bold prediction on the draft. We definitely don't know. We don't expect anybody to get called day one. Does anybody get called day two? Day two is rounds two, 3, and 4. Do we have anybody go that high? Yes or no? I'm not going to actually single anybody out, but just say yes or no. Do you think there's anybody could go rounds 2, 3, and 4?
I think possibly 4. I think possibly 4.
Fourth round. What about you, Jamie?
Same here. Fourth round.
All right, y'all. We done gave them some bonus time today, so now it's time for our outtakes. I will get Keisha while her internet is good. We'll go ahead, Keisha. Give your outtake. 30 seconds to a minute. After you give your outtake, give all your plugs once again where they can find you at.
Okay, so for my outtakes, of course, I'm going to be this person. Congratulations to my nephew that's graduating from Tennessee State University on Saturday, May 1st. He will be I'll say 3rd, 4th on down the road. I'm a Southern University grad. My sister's out of Alabama A&M. He'll be coming out of Tennessee State. So shout out to my nephew getting it done. We're so proud of you. That's the 4 years that have gone, and granddad has gone on, and he won't see it, but we'll be there to support him. That's probably the most important thing. As far as, also shout out to Aquil Glass being the only HBCU candidate for that Walter Payton Award. That's major. So it would be great if he could win that award. And then, of course, again, if you look for me, I'm Black College EXP on Twitter, Black College Experience on Instagram, and then the Black College Experience on Facebook.
Jamie.
All right. Just shout outs. Once again, you can find me on Twitter primarily because I write for kind of everybody at Coach Work Sports. But my outtake really just goes kind of what we addressed at the beginning of the show, and that is our activism within the HBCU circles. I think a lot of coverage went to Black athletes, of course, but at major PWIs instead of what we're doing here. You can kind of see that our work is not over with the Andrew Brown shooting in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And there's a Black college there. There's an HBCU there in Elizabeth City State. Also, the HBCUs in those surrounding areas. It's time to get to work. It's time to show people what you've been taught at these universities as far as being advocates for yourself and for your people. So with that being said, I hope that we do things peacefully and purposely.
All right. My outtake is just to be pretty much a commercial. This week, right here on the Black College Sports Network, along with City of Montgomery, the Montgomery Biscuits, BCSG 360, and Black College Nines, I have the pleasure of working the first Black College World Series. Now, when they brought this to me probably about 2 months ago, hey, this is gonna happen. Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, as we start getting closer, that they start getting all right, this is gonna do it. We're gonna do it. But we didn't know where. Then I found out it's in Montgomery. I'm like, oh, heck, that's my neck of the woods right there. I stayed in that area for 15 years, living right down the road in Tuskegee for all that time. So I feel like I'm going home to do something that should have always been done. And I get to be a part of this historic event. Yes? I get to do play-by-play, at least for the first day. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there for the whole thing. And I don't think we really appreciate, not so much all the work that went into it. You'll never understand that. But the fact that we will crown a champion on the field, get into schools, NCAA, NAIA, in a COVID year to handle this. And then the fact that all these entities were able to come together and to go for this common cause, because I'm not gonna lie, at the BCSN, we've been talking about doing something like this for years. BCSG been talking about doing something like this. Black College Nines been talking about doing something like this. City of Montgomery is a ready and willing and able partner. But the fact that everybody's able to put egos aside and put this thing together, it's not making dollars yet, but it's making sense. And sooner or later, it will make the dollars that it needs. So for me to be a part of that, and you guys know some of the work we do behind the scenes on all this stuff, but this is just a tremendous feeling. So,
are you gonna cry? No.
No, I'm not gonna cry. I've been going over my opening in my head how I'm gonna open it up. And I don't care how many times I'm gonna say it in my head. When you put that microphone in front of me, or when I put the headset on, I'm just doing like I do what I used to be.
I don't think it's gonna hit you until you get there. It ain't gonna hit you yet, because to you it's probably like, oh yeah, this is something I do. But when you get there and sit down, it's gonna really hit you like, oh, I'm a part of something. It'll hit you.
I'm gonna tell you when it's gonna hit me. It's gonna be Saturday night.
Yeah.
When we done, I get back to that hotel. I finally am able to enjoy my adult beverage because I don't have to worry about getting up and doing research for the next day's game. And before I go to that hotel room and go and lay down, when I finally get to, that's when it's gonna hit me. It's gonna be like, damn, we did it.
Yep.
We did it.
Yep.
No one else can say they were the first. You only got one. You only had one first. No matter what it is, what we do, you've only got one first. My name is A.D. Drew, Black College Sports Network at BCSN DREW on Twitter. You can follow all the Black College Sports Network at by BCSN and the #1. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on YouTube by JBN online on YouTube. Go to our website, www.mybcsn.net. Please watch the Black College World Series Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And while you're in the stands watching the SWAC championship game, put the SWAC championship game on the TV, put us on the iPad. And then when the game is over, come back to us. That's all I'm going to ask you to do.
Yep.
All right. A.D. Drew here, Jamie Walker, Keisha Kelley. We'd like to thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you on next Monday right here on Nights of the Roundtable.